Welcome to Wednesday. This week we are talking about collecting data. So up to this point, we have looked at a specific research question. You formulated that, and you have looked at how you're going to find your sample. Now we're looking at what is commonly referred to as our instrument. So that's the instrument is the tool that we use to collect data. There's my cat back there. He's happy to see you too. Anyway, this week we're looking at collecting data and our data collection instrument. And that instrument might be a survey or an interview or a focus group. And that's what the material is this week, is looking at some of those different data collection methods and what instrument you might choose to collect your data. So in these last 2 weeks, I've given you feedback on your research proposal, part 1, and that was kind of the introduction where you gave us your research question and discussed why it was important to study it and kind of got us up to speed on some of the broader context of that topic. This week, I'll be looking at your research proposal, part 2, which is your literature review. And so in your literature review, you're giving us a little bit more in-depth of a look at what is known or what has been found on your topic up to this point, and then why there's a gap in the literature, why your question is unanswered, and how that addresses a need in the literature. There's no literature about your specific topic, so that's why you're finding it. So now part 3 is what you're going to be working on these next 2 weeks, and that is focusing on the methods that you are going to use to answer your research question. So where are your participants coming from, or your sample? Where's your sample coming from? How are you going to access them? If you're giving a survey to college students, who do you have to get permission from, and where are you going to find their email addresses? So those are questions to think about. You can't just give a survey. You've got to figure out how you're going to get those email addresses and what kind of permission you need, as well as what kind of instrument you're going to administer. Are you doing a survey? Are you going to do interviews? Maybe you're looking at state data, maybe from prisons, incarceration rates or something like that. And that's something that you can find from a government organization. So just be thinking about where you need to find your information, and that's what your methods and your instrument is. This section, your part 3 of your research proposal, should be specific enough so that if somebody came along after you and tried to redo your study based on your description of the method, they would do exactly the same thing as you. So if you sampled 500 college students and you got their email addresses through the registrar of the institution, then that person coming after you that's trying to duplicate your study would be able to figure out that you got 500 samples from the registrar, and they would do the exact same thing. So that's the level of detail that you have. I'm trying to be very heavy on feedback for your research proposal, so I consider that to be a conversation between us. So, as you think about things, or if you're not happy with something, or you think of a new idea, or maybe something that you should have done, feel free to email me and talk about it, or come to my office and talk about it. This is a conversation that is probably best worked out through interaction between the two of us, either through email or through an in-person conversation. I think that sometimes it's best to talk through your ideas, and maybe we can think of something together that neither one of us would have thought of by ourselves. So feel free, and I really feel like that might be helpful in this class and in this project. So I hope you have a great 2 weeks. You're doing great in this class, and I'm really enjoying being in this class with you. So thank you for that. Have a great 2 weeks. I'll catch you on the flip side.